Hey guys, today I'm excited to review Muay Thai, A Living Legacy, one of my favorite books. Hi guys, my name is Joe and welcome to Fighting Words, the martial arts library. On this channel I review martial arts books and talk about other martial arts related subjects. Today, as I mentioned, I'm going to be reviewing Muay Thai, A Living Legacy, which was published in the year 2001. The authors are Leslie Junlankan and Kat Prayakvong, whose names I hope I am not butchering terribly. They were both originally from Thailand. They'd spent time abroad. Ms. Prayakvong actually has a degree from the University of Illinois, and Ms. Junlankan spent some years living in Japan. Now, one thing I have to tell you up front about this book, it is visually very beautiful. All the current photographs are in color. There are some from the 1920s and so on that are in black and white. It also includes a fold-out poster of the Ram Muay, or the Y Crew. Same thing. The book itself is pretty comprehensive, covering aspects not only of the techniques of Muay Thai, but also some pretty in-depth stuff on the history, including history of various stadiums, and some cultural aspects as well. So we actually begin with the history section. This covers the history of Muay Thai generally briefly, but it goes very far back into the almost mythical aspects of Thai history. It will cover the history of Muay Thai a little bit initially by giving us a brief overview of what was going on in Thailand during the various eras of Thailand's history. After that, we get a section on the old styles of Muay Thai. Thailand, formerly known as Siam, is a large and very old place, so many different regional styles developed over the years, and we get a bit of a snapshot of that here, as well as a slightly more in-depth look at a style called Muay Chaya, which was one of those older styles. Then we get further into the development of Muay Thai once we start hitting the 20th century and we hear about the institution of gloved fighting in Muay Thai, whereas before they had wrapped their hands with rope. We get a few paragraphs about the various what you might call culture heroes of Muay Thai, and as I mentioned earlier, we get the history and locations of various stadiums in Thailand. After the history section, we get into the various accoutrements that people in Muay Thai will wear. This includes profiles of both the traditional dress used by Muay Thai prior to the 20th century. We get modern professional fighter gear, and we also get a profile of someone wearing amateur Muay Thai outfits, which includes a chest protector, in addition to shin guards and headgear. We also get a chapter on the various amulets that are sometimes used in Muay Thai, from the headband, known as the mangkong, to lesser-known amulets that fighters may include as part of their walking to the ring fight wear. After that, we get a section on the Y Crew and the Y itself. We get 2 pages of that, giving it a cultural context for it in Thailand and how it's used. The Y Crew is more ritual, and it's used to show respect to one's instructor. We also get a section on various rituals, including initiation rituals for both students and how one would be initiated as an instructor or crew in Muay Thai. Then we get a section on the Muay Thai ring, which gives us not just the overall structure and description of what the ring used in Muay Thai looks like, but also various superstitions that may accompany that. And we also get a look at some of the rituals that go into approaching the ring and entering the ring. This section will also include the basic format of the Y Crew, which was touched on in an earlier chapter of the book. In the next section, we begin to get into the physical side of Muay Thai. This will include a section on the basic Muay Thai stance, various warm-ups that one might do during a Muay Thai training session, how to wrap the hands, the targets that one would seek to strike at in a Muay Thai fight. And then we get a few pages on basic first aid for Muay Thai. Things like treating expected injuries like cuts, up to things like a broken jaw. Then there's a chapter on footwork, and this sort of blends both traditional and modern footwork. There's a fold-out section for what they refer to as the Thai shuffle. This involves bringing the knees up high, presumably to fake an attack or to defend against an incoming kick itself. After that, we get an extensive technique section. Again, these are all color photographs. The sections are divided into punches, elbows, knees, kicks, and foot jabs. The difference between the kick and the foot jab when it comes to this is that the kick is more about moves that hinge at the knee, while foot jabs are more thrusting techniques. And I'll describe more of that as I go on here. Now, in this section, after each technique, it shows both the right and left side, except if it happens to be, for instance, a spinning technique, usually they'll only show how to strike with the rear side. Now, what's interesting to me is that when it comes to the kicking section, it will show kicks at various angles, including basically a snap kick to the groin, as well as coming in 45 degrees up, fully around, and it actually goes kind of in depth as to how to throw that round kick depending on what your target is, whether it's the inside or outside of the thigh, whether it's the body, whether it's the head. And then there's sort of a downward kick. They call it a crocodile's tail kick. Some of us may recognize it as a question mark kick. Now, if you compare that with the foot jab section, there's obviously variations of the front and sort of side thrusting kicks, but we also get things like spinning kicks, and there's even sort of a slapping downward axe kick. Now, in the kicking section, there was a variation of the axe kick that hit with the heel, so it's interesting to see where the divide is. Because you're hitting with the sole of the foot in this variation, it shows up in the foot jab section. We also get some unusual techniques in some of the other sections. For instance, we get a jumping punch. It's not really a Superman punch, it's literally jump up and punch the guy. That's from the punching section. In the elbow section, there's a double downward elbow strike. In the knee strike section, there is a variation where you step on your opponent's leg and knee him in the head as you're stepping up his body. There's actually a variation of that in the kicking section as well, obviously with a kick instead of a knee. The section on knees will include a little bit of clinching. It's nowhere near in-depth as far as clinching techniques go. It's more like, if you want to throw this particular knee, use this clinch to do it. After we get those extensive basics out of the way, there's a Techniques Plus section. The Technique Plus section includes things like counter strikes. It includes different combinations, punch-kick combinations, for instance, or punch-elbow, combining the different techniques. There's also a little bit more clinch work when it comes to that section. Again, not extensively. They didn't spend a whole lot of time on the clinch in this book, but you will see a little bit more there. For instance, there's a body lock clinch shown in the Techniques Plus section that you can use if you want to throw knees to your opponent's ribs. Toward the end of the book, we get a section on defense, including blocking and avoiding your opponent's strikes, and then a glossary and an index. There's also a few appendices in this section, including a map of some of the locations that were talked about in the book, and a section giving tips on what all of your parts of the body are doing when you are throwing specific techniques like punches, elbows, foot jabs, and so on. As far as the prose go, this is a very comprehensive text, everything from history to technique, including some advanced technique. I think the formatting is excellent. Again, it's a beautiful book to look at. It was photographed very well. As far as the cons go, it's sort of hard to find any. When they get into some of the history of Muay Thai, they mention a few things that might be myths, and they sort of allude to the fact that they might be myths, but they don't really take a stand one side or another on it. I would prefer a little bit more precise language when it comes to that. I'm also wondering if the section on defense could have been put right after the offensive section, but before the techniques plus section, since some of that section involved a little bit of defense. Really, it's a minor gripe in a very good overall book. As far as recommendations go, if you have any book on Muay Thai, I cannot recommend this one enough. Get this book if you want to have any book on Muay Thai. Again, not only is it beautifully constructed, but it covers everything from history, culture, rituals, and has an extensive technique section. The only thing that might be missing for it is Sanchai's cartwheel kick, but I don't know if anybody was doing that in 2001. You know, it covers a lot of techniques that you don't see very frequently in Muay Thai. If you are a beginner to intermediate level Muay Thai practitioner, I also think that this is pretty good to get in order to get some ideas on how to throw techniques, a little bit in the way of strategy. If you're teaching Muay Thai, this might be a good book to get so that you can share some of the history and culture with your students. And it's got that first aid section. I would highly recommend, if you teach a martial art or combat sport, you should probably be first aid certified anyway. But this might also help with that. Anyway, guys, that's all I have for this week. If you like what I do, please feel free to leave a like and a comment if you have anything to say about the book. If you'd like to support the channel, or if you have a recommendation for a book for me to review. I am taking commissions through my Ko-fi account. I'm going to put a link to that in the description. And that's all I got. Thanks for following along, and I'll see you next week.